Hey, everybody, how is it going this week? I hope it's going well, and I hope that those who participated in the challenge are still moving along. I know this week, Facebook's doing weird stuff, man. I know this week, um, people are that started, man, that rattled me. Sorry. This week, people that started in Procedure for Prosperity, we've already started. We're already going. It's a lot of fun. People are already starting to see progress. So this is really good. So this is a subject I wanted to talk about for a while, and somebody during the challenge a few weeks ago brought this up. So I want to talk to the group about really debt and my thoughts around it. Like people ask me about debt all the time. They're like, Joe, you talk about money all the time. What do you think about debt? I'm like, well, it's just not an easy like I like it or hate it. There's more than just that to it, right? And when we look at it overall, um, when we look at debt and the people who talk about debt and teach about debt, there's so many different philosophies and ways that come from, and um, a lot of differing beliefs around it. So it's a fun subject. It's fun to talk about it and just see people's reactions and understand kind of where they're at and what they're thinking and how much they start not liking themselves because of it, or um, just all those things. So I wanted to tackle this subject, and it's been a long time coming in this group, and people started asking about it. So I'm like, well, there's never a better time to do it than now. So my take on that, right? And I want you to think about this as you're watching this and thinking. 100% of how we react to things are based upon our personal beliefs and what we think, right? I think we'd set the bar there and be like, yes, money is no different, right? Tools, right? Because I will call debt a tool, just like bankruptcy is a tool, foreclosure is a tool, credit is a tool. In the financial world, is again really just that. It's a tool that we have an opinion about. Some people love it, some people accept it. They're like, well, I'll do it. That's how they were taught. Some people hate it, won't touch it. You have people who market against debt, right? Like, I look at it, right, and the marketing aside, right, the market for it, market against it, against credit. There's all these things. But again, I want to bring it back to us because how you think about it and your reaction is really a tell for how you interact with money, whether it be debt, whether it be credit, right, or these other financial tools that are out there, investments. We all react to it the same way, right? And it's really, if you look at that, and we can start to see other pieces in our life where we start to react to that thing. But if we really look at it, we're reacting to ourselves, we're reacting to money, we're reacting to different aspects of the things that are coming up on the inside. Hopefully all that makes sense, okay? So when we talk about debt specifically, it starts to mess with our brains, okay? Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to save up for really large purchases. It's totally possible to do that. It's possible to, pay cash for a house if you want. But that's still possible in this day and age. Now, at what point you want to make that happen, that is up to you. Okay? But people have dreams. And this is where I really want to pull this back to, because people have dreams. You have these big goals, especially people in this group, right? We have really big goals we want to accomplish. And what happens is a lot of times we say, well, we need capital, we need to make money, we need to, have X, Y, and Z in place before we can actually start making that dream happen. Right? And I was talking to someone the other day and they're like, I have this big dream where, I want a house and I want like my business to do this much money each year and I want to like go do these humanitarian aid things, and they had this big long list of things they wanted to do. But they're stuck in I don't want to go in debt because of whatever their belief is. And so my vision won't ever come to pass. And I thought that was kind of sad when we look at it from that perspective, right? Because I can pick out 3 or 4 other things that we could talk about when it comes to how they interact with money, what they believe in themselves, how they feel about themselves, how they feel about money, how they feel about other people. Because every time someone brings a big dream to me, it says, well, I can't do it because I don't have the money and I don't want to go in debt. Valid reason, right? 100%. You don't want to, burden yourself with owing people money. I totally understand that. However, when you place that in between you and what you want to get, that's where it becomes a problem. I always say it's never about the money. If you're going to buy something, if you're selling something and you're like trying to negotiate with people on the other end of that contract, right? And they decline it or they don't. We all know those who have businesses, right? You're selling things and sometimes people buy, sometimes they won't. And they'll always tell you, I can't afford that, right? So we're telling ourselves in our big dream, we can't afford that because the only way that makes sense for us to have that happen is we have to go in debt to make that happen. And that's one way, but that's not the only way. And that's what I want you to think about when you start saying, I can't afford that because. It's never about the money. It really isn't. So what is it about? What is it about at the core of you that's preventing you from taking that next step on the things you want to do and the things you know that will help you? We blame debt. We blame not wanting to put things on credit. We blame, the stock market is bad, so my retirement's gone, so I got to work longer. I can't do this. There's so many excuses. I don't have the money in my bank account, so I can't buy that, even though I know what I want and know what I need to help move me forward. But that's not the only, credit and debt is not the only mechanism for us to find some of the cash flow that we're looking for. But we use it because we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust that we'll go make the money. We don't trust that we'll go find a different way to make it happen. Remember, I always talk about money as one resource. People are another resource. But it's weird in our head when we ask people to help us out. Because right now I'm indebted to you. And I know, again, people's philosophies are all different. One thing I learned a long time ago, though, is if I made a commitment to myself that I would never loan people money again. We got burned a few times, Debbie and I did. But I would never loan people money again. That doesn't mean people don't come ask me for money. It doesn't mean I don't give people money. But I don't loan it to them. There's no repayment clause in there to say, hey, you must give back. When money goes out, to me, I think of it as a gift. Now, if they want to gift it back to me, that's totally cool. I'm with you. But it lightens up that pressure of the stories and the disappointment and the abandonment that comes along with money. When we loan it out, we're like, oh man, I don't know. They said they'd get it back to me, and now I have these other obligations I gotta do. So maybe if they don't do it, then what kind of predicament does that put me in? If I don't get it back, am I going to be able to pay my mortgage? Now my financial responsibilities, are they going to be in jeopardy? Now I'm going to caution, if you're in that place, don't give money to anybody. That's a whole different place to be in. But again, what I want you to do is when you look at debt, when you say, I can't afford that, or I don't want to go in debt. Well, if it's truly never about the money, what is it about? And I'm going to challenge you. Find that real reason. The real reason why you don't want to do what it is, that opportunity, or someone's asking you about something, find that. Start to be more honest with yourself. Because the more honest you can start being with yourself in those moments, the more honest you can be with money. You can start to really hear what money's telling you, and you can start to go take action on that. That's really where the real power is. But if we continue to make debt, credit, even money itself as a scapegoat for us not wanting to take action in moving forward, then that's on you. And it's time to solve for that. It's time to fix that. Now, again, like I said in the beginning, debt, credit, foreclosure, bankruptcy, all these financial tools are there for a reason. And now, Debbie and myself, digging into this for just a moment, right? We've had debt before. We actually had a house that we foreclosed on. We almost went through bankruptcy. Right? But again, I want you to come back. Those are tools. Those don't define who you are. And that's important because all of the financial institutions and all the people involved will make it feel like you're a bad person. And that's not true. You're not a bad person. You may have made some, maybe not good choices. Maybe you made really good choices and then life happened. You know, life can happen. We can't always guess the future. We can put our best effort forward and do whatever we can to make it right. But again, if you have to use those tools, again, it is a tool, then do so with no shame or guilt on your own. But it's in here and in here, you'll know why you're doing what you're doing. But again, that's what I want to challenge. So when you look at what you say, that's what I want you guys to monitor. Like if you're watching this, like monitor what you're saying and really ask yourself, is that really why? And if it is, if it comes back to the clean yes, like I don't have the money for the X, Y, and Z, cool. You don't have the money, then ask yourself, why don't I have the money to do this thing I want to do? Because just leaving it at the I don't have money, lets money be the scapegoat. And it will always be, I don't have the money, I don't have the money, I don't have the money. But we're never solving for why don't I have the money? Why don't I have, why don't I have it to do what I want to do? Because you're going to find money for other things. So you can even take inventory and be like, when I'm purchase these things, what makes my decision for something I really want and I get and something I don't? Even though there's an inkling of like, that would be nice to have that. Because if we can start to understand the emotions about why we say what we do about money, then we can start to change it. So if we can pay attention to be like, I don't want to get in debt. Okay, cool. Why not? Cool, you have a good explanation? Cool, that's awesome. You have a good definition of what you don't want. But underneath that, if you don't want to get into debt, but you really want this thing, how can you go find the money to do it? Challenge yourselves, because in that challenge, we will become creative in finding ways that fit within our values and boundaries, but still allow us to get what we want. Okay? And that's one of the most important pieces. So use the financial tools out there to however they can help you in your business and in life. Stop hiding behind them because they're not helping you get to where you want to go. They're not helping you reach your big vision. And in the end, you end up blaming money. And, frankly, money doesn't like to be blamed. So if we can stop blaming money, start building a relationship with it, then we'll start to be able to make the strides necessary to get to where we want to go and enact our big vision. Create the legacy and impact that we really want to create to make this world a better place, not only for ourselves, but for our children and those coming after us. So challenge yourselves. See what happens. I'd love to hear what happens. Comment below or just post it in the group and be like, hey, Joe, you said challenge what I'm saying and this is starting to happen as I'm doing that. Because when we can understand that it's never about the money and it's all about us, we can start to change the outcome of everything we do. And that's what's most important. Until next week, we'll see you later. Bye.